Okay, you're on.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is the Council on Aging Board of Directors meeting, November 15th. May I have a motion to call the meeting to order at 9:34?
Make a motion. Second.
Thank you. Deb, would you please read the mission statement?
The mission of the Council on Aging is to advocate for Groveland's older adults, to identify their needs, to develop and implement services to meet their health, economic, social, and cultural needs, to encourage maximum independence, and to improve their quality of life.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the October 18th meeting, please. Irene, is there anything to mention, or any discussion or questions on the minutes?
No, I've been over it 4 or 5 times. Does anybody else have a correction or revision or edit?
Nope.
No?
I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of October
18th.
18th.
Oh, it's right.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. Treasurer's report, please.
Well, that is in the, I'm going to defer to the director because she prepared all this and she knows what it's all about.
Absolutely. So nothing, nothing unusual in October in regards to finances. Yeah, I wish I had more to say. But I know we will be going in detail, a review of the budget and what the line items mean later on in the meeting. But in regards to December revenue and expenses, nothing out of the ordinary, just our regular stuff.
I do have a question. I see that 2C says stand-up freezer, $3,500 request, notice by end of September. That's a request and a grant?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, so those aren't marked in the October financials, but
Right,
yes.
right.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
So, We're looking at the last page, right?
No, I was.
Irene
looking
was
at-
looking
I was
at the
looking at
board report.
financial
Yeah.
highlights.
Okay.
That caught my eye because I know it's been discussed as an asset for the.
Yeah, I can go over the financial highlights. So again, nothing stands out on the budget sheet itself. I will say congratulations to Nisha and Barbara for a successful grant application to the Mass DOT program. Those funds are designated specifically for expenses to do with van operation. It is a matching grant, so 5,000 of that will be matched by the formula grant. We received the award letter and not the funds or agreement as of yet, but that is a good first step. And in the same vein of grants, I mentioned last meeting that I was planning to apply it. At this point, I have applied to 3 grants. They're all through the Service Initiative Grant, known as SIG. There are many options. I chose 3 to write proposals for. One was a flat $10,000 request for marketing, which goes along with one of the goals I set out last time around in regards to, a visibility campaign in the next year and focus on the COA. With that, I also put in a pilot program grant for a memory cafe startup. Again, this was a section that we could check off and make a proposal for. I put in $615 for that, and that is, again, last time we had mentioned I would really like to have a focus for us to gather community support around, and that would be dementia, and this would help facilitate that. But, I don't know. We haven't had a memory cafe before. For those that aren't familiar with memory cafes, it really is a social opportunity for both the caregiver via a family member, a friend, a neighbor, and the individual themselves to have a moment of joy and connection in their life, as well as certainly brain stimulation, but the main point really being that we can hopefully have a brief moment of a little less worry in one's life. So I just put it in for a couple of sessions depending on budget, and also anticipate, if we were to get the grant, to do it later in the spring/summer for when we have our outreach director here, or manager here. And then the last one, I put in a stand-up freezer request, $3,500. I priced them out approximately for a glass door stand-up, so that it would be a better experience for the individuals that come into our pantry, so that they aren't bending over, digging, and also for our volunteers and for us for storage as well. So they have a pretty quick turnaround, so we'll see.
What would we do with the chest freezer if we do get this? Would we keep that as well?
No. We don't have space for it, and
know, that's
it's
what
not
we
a
said.
need. Yeah, so
Sell it? Get money back?
think
It's
we
not
will-
that old, that's like,
we will, I think, cross that bridge when it comes, but yeah.
and this is a request for a grant, through a grant, right? Stand-up freezer?
So this is, these are all through the Service Initiative grants. Yep.
Okay. Any questions on that? All right, thank you, Alyssa. And now we move right into the director's report, please.
Wonderful. So a couple highlights. I think most of you are aware, but to name it and say it out loud, that we are wrapping up interviews for the Outreach and Pantry Manager. We received over 20 applications. Most of them really great candidates. A couple here and there that, are sort of didn't necessarily have an explicit interest in the program, but by and large, most of them were good quality candidates, and we were able to have a couple of final interviews this past week, and we hope to make an offer by this time next week, if not before. So thank you for everyone that was involved in that process. Really appreciate it. Programming wise, we have, similar to a Halloween event, we have sold out both the Thanksgiving and December entertainment / meal events. So our Thanksgiving event is taking place this Thursday in this room. The students of the Pentucket Regional Middle and High School will be performing here, so that'll be lots of fun. And then December also sold out, I believe December 14th. And that is with Alexandra, who did The Sound of Music previously. She'll come here with a pianist to do some sort of sing along and showcase some works, and of course have a meal as well. So we really enjoy seeing just the energy in the room and the excitement and just the community spirit that have been involved so far. So looking forward to continued success there. Participation in the Veterans Day ceremony, I was asked by Ms. Tuttle to speak at the ceremony that was held last Friday at the town. I saw a few of you there. It was a really, really wonderful and humbling experience, and appreciated the honor of being invited, and certainly seeing many of our constituents in the room too. So it was great. Tent was put away. Thank you, Larry, and everyone, Deb, and so many of you that came out and helped to make that happen. I know it was a big undertaking, but I think it was well worth it, and we'll bring it out again in the spring. But yeah. So thank you so much for that. And then a last highlight for me, again on the theme of dementia, I did go through the Dementia Friends Champion last week. Essentially, the champion means that I am now able to lead information sessions on dementia with just a few goals, really an education / awareness campaign for people so that they know what is dementia, what does that entail, and what can they do when they're interacting with a neighbor, with a grandparent, with a loved one of some sort, so that we can sort of be better equipped with more empathy and compassion with those that we interact with.
I don't know if you're aware of the dementia support group.
Yep.
Over, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That was in our newsletter, but yeah, I know it's as we spoke about before, dementia is something that impacts a wide number of people. I think somewhere around 11 million unpaid caregivers or care partners have interactions just here in the U.S. with those with dementia.
At the last Congregational Church Dementia Discussion Group, Pastor Donna was considering opening up the umbrella so it will include being a support group for dementia and other situations with which caregivers deal, and possibly even as the group grows, moving to make it a Zoom
Yeah, great.
discussion as well.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So those are my big highlights. Later on in the packet, you will see the community survey results. I left it open through October, but still with a minimal response rate.
16? My goodness.
But I think this gives us a good baseline on which to improve upon next year. So,
Wow.
How many of us did it?
I filled it out, it's there in my agenda.
I did.
the results certainly weren't surprising, but it always is good to see it in writing. You know, the big things that we know in regards to the reputation of our services and their experiences, you know, takeaways in regards to, you know, what people are looking for, what do they want to have it continued, and we've already started implementing a number of those things, including, you know, programming on additional days, you know, doing the monthly meals, implementing the craft program, and so forth. So I hope that people see these initiatives, that yes, while we are just now printing the results, I have read them before, and hence why we're moving forward with the new programming that we're offering. But, you know, the programming is fluid. I want it to meet the needs and interests of the community. So when you see a survey next time, please do fill it out, because I really do listen and want to follow the what people need in the community.
It's sitting there.
But that doesn't mean that while it won't be included in these results, you know, definitely at any point you can always share your feedback, and you know, happy to make it happen. Yeah, it's nothing too surprising there. Nisha did the assistant director's report. Previously, I had done the numbers for programming. I had passed this on to her, so she wrote a report out from there. Again, we touched on it a little bit about how the luncheons have really increased in popularity. In part, might be because of the lower cost than we've had in other years. And she's also really promoting making sure that everybody has a key tag, which will then allow us to do even better on tracking the numbers of usage of our service. And a new statistic she put in there was volunteer hours and numbers. Any questions so far? Okay. I put some upcoming events. I know it's on the agenda, so we can go through that later too. I'll go over to food insecurity and pantry updates, pantry inspection. Last we spoke, it was scheduled. We have now completed it, and that took place with a representative of the Greater Boston Food Bank came to our pantry in partnership with Our Neighbors Table. no surprise, we passed. We're good to go. I wanted to, thank the police and fire department and the community at large for their generous contributions to the food pantry. We filled 6 tables out in the hallway full of food, and I know that was just part of the community donations, and a number of things also went to the Sacred Heart Food Pantry, I believe, as well. So again, Groveland was very generous to us, so thank you very much for that. And then Thanksgiving Day orders, that's going on today and next week. Linda and I will be very busy packing bags. Our Neighbor's Table is giving everybody, they got to order a turkey or 2 chickens. Most people ordered the turkey, but then a bag of sides, so sweet potatoes, canned goods, gravy, broth, and all that kind of stuff. Stuffing mix will go into those bags, as well as Acasio's Martial Arts. They are donating 10 Thanksgiving baskets. The baskets themselves will be given out next week. I believe they will be delivered directly, and then they're coming today to pick up the individuals are coming today to pick up the gift cards to pick out their own protein. So that's that. I mentioned the hiring update, and again, I just thank you to Larry for really spearheading that tent initiative, and everybody in town for their donations to the food pantry. We couldn't do it without it. That is me.
Any questions or comments on the director's report?
Yeah.
I was wondering if this could be sent to us beforehand, because I'm trying to listen and read at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time. I mean, even if we're early this morning.
Yeah.
You're still typing it, just so that I can, I feel kind of like when we get the minutes early to kind of peruse
Yeah,
them, and,
yeah.
I'm not trying to make more work for you.
No. It's done earlier today. There were a couple last minute things, but
Right.
absolutely.
Right,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I could have been sitting there reading
Yeah.
that, because I'm trying to read and listen and be polite.
Yeah, no,
And,
absolutely. And
especially
don't
when it's
feel
like
that you need
numbers
to-
and things,
to read
yeah.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's my only comment. This is very thorough. I am impressed.
And I think it's nice to, even through the report, we can see that the level of enthusiasm and the level of activity is increasing,
Has increased, yes.
which I think is a really good thing. That I'm feeling a lot of energy, which
Yeah.
is great.
Mhm.
Very good. Thank you for that, Alyssa. The pantry food services updates, I believe she touched on in her director's report, unless there was anything specific or,
I just wondered about van driver. Do we have any
Oh, updates on,
substitute
What's that?
van driver?
no, that sort of was sort of knocked down a notch on priority level, but hopefully get back into it. Joe Walsh, our Monday, Tuesday driver, will now be able to help us out as a sub for Wednesday, Thursday, until Frank is able to return, which we hope is after Thanksgiving, but that
Oh,
just,
okay.
still playing it by ear. He did get the gift card. He sent us a thank you card. It's in the office if you would like to see it, so, yeah.
all right. Unless there's anything else to mention on the pantry and food service updates. Friends of Groveland Council on Aging update.
Oh, can I ask a question about the pantry?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Is our neighbor's table making a delivery on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving?
They are, but it won't be a Thanksgiving delivery. It'll be just a regular delivery. So today is the big one.
Okay,
Yeah. We're all set.
okay.
Yeah, I think Candy went to the 22nd. I forgot, either Candy or I.
All right, Friends of the Groveland Council on Aging update. I can speak a little bit to that as far as the calendar raffle goes. The calendar raffle, we sold approximately between 175 and 180, because I know that a couple just came in this past week, people who wanted to sign up for that.
Wow.
Um,
So at the last meeting, John mentioned about 100, and now it's up to 175?
I thought it was 175 at the last meeting. I didn't,
He said 100,
Oh, did he?
about 100?
oh, my apologies, I must be referring to a different thing. Okay, so it's between 100 and 105.
Oh,
um,
okay.
Calendars, because as I said, we did just sell a couple. Thank you, Irene, for that
Okay.
correction. I overstated. The winners are being notified on a timely basis, and their prizes are being distributed to them, hand-delivered if possible, mailed if not, on a timely basis. And so far, we've had 13, I believe, people that have been notified and delivered, and probably close to half of those are Groveland residents, which is nice. But there are many as well from outlying neighboring communities, so it's good that we have that level of participation at all. So as far as the raffle calendar goes, a big thank you to the Friends for all their work on acquiring all the gift cards that were given out during that, and to the businesses that did donate, and of course to the people who supported our fundraiser by purchasing the raffle. We greatly appreciate that, and thank you.
And I think it's great that it's being posted, because that's more advertising for next year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are the people and what they want, you know. I think it's being done once a week on Facebook,
Mhm.
Oh,
so
is that where it's posted on Facebook?
it's on Facebook, yeah. What?
I just refuse to do Facebook, so I
Oh.
miss everything.
Well, if you're a
These days
winner,
I'm
But
you
gonna-
will
not
get a
real, I
phone
mean,
call.
just like Deb, it wouldn't be your
Yeah, I know.
whole name, you know. So it's kind of advertising, oh geez, look at the prizes, if you haven't had the chance to see. So, anyway, I don't know who's putting it up there, if they.
Nisha is.
Nisha is, okay. So, thank you, Nisha.
Is there anything else in any other area of the Friends of the Council on Aging? Questions, concerns?
How are the meetings being attended? I have never been to more than one, so are they increasing? Are we getting better attendance? Because I know that was a big goal, was to,
Well, yes and no. The last meeting, there was just Darcy, a few board members, and one other person.
okay.
So, yes and no. Not to the level that we would certainly like to
Yeah.
see. But, you know, we keep reaching out, and we'll reach out again today. Come join the Friends of the Groveland Council on Aging. They meet, is it the first Thursday of every
Every month.
month at 3
3 o'clock.
o'clock here in the meeting room? And we're always looking for people to help with programs or events, or just to come in and listen and share ideas and thoughts. Everyone is always welcome.
The letters of invitation for membership have gone out to become a friend. So the timeline for membership goes from January to December of each year, so that's why they're being sent out now to remind people. So if you sign up today, I believe this will go towards your 2024 membership,
So,
or not.
I don't think so.
So I have to wait till January 1st to sign up
I
again?
believe so.
I don't know how they're doing that, but,
I think so. I think that's,
yeah.
I think there's like a 24 membership. Because if you pay now,
I
I
think-
think you're only paid
So that
through
letter-
December.
Which I have yours, Marie, in my car.
Oh, okay.
We saved a
That was the
Sam.
impression.
That went out was for next year's dues.
That's what I thought,
That's what I thought.
Thank
It's
you.
for next year's.
for 2024. For
Oh, okay.
January to
Okay.
December of 2024.
Okay,
It's 2023.
I know. Do have a little Alzheimer's, but I do know the year.
Okay,
I really find.
so, no, that's all I had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Senior center.
Moving on to Senior Center Task Force update. We have a Senior Center Task Force consisting of Alyssa, myself, and now it is Darcy, once again.
Oh.
We have not yet had a meeting with everything else going on in November, but maybe after Thanksgiving or early December, we can have a meeting and just brainstorm and Any thoughts or ideas or comments on that are, again, always welcome. It certainly is a priority of ours, and I know our seniors would all enjoy having a senior center. In fact, when we had the Halloween party here, our entertainer was saying, "You need a bigger room." And we all responded with, "We need a senior center." Just to be able to accommodate everyone who would like to attend our program, so.
Yeah, I would just add that, so I had sent out an email to Barbara and Darcy, my co-task force members, and one of the agenda items top of mind for me is really coming up with a list of other stakeholders that have a skill set that we need to push this forward. So identifying the skill set, then identifying potential people who have that skill set, and then making the ask. So we can have a good, solid group together, being as well-informed as we can be.
Any questions or comments on the task force? Okay, thank you. Is there any other old business that we have not covered? All right, then we will move on to new business. First is the January, February newsletter and the spotlight person. We had discussed having a person on the cover of every newsletter, whether it be a staff member, board member, volunteer, someone in the community. It's like, get to know your blank. So that's what we mean by spotlight person. I don't have anything on the newsletter. Does anyone have any questions, comments? I saw that there were something in the director's report about upcoming programs, but those are mostly November.
December.
Yeah, it's November, December.
December.
For the spotlight, I think you had mentioned it before, Barbara, that assuming that we are lucky to welcome a new outreach and food pantry
Definitely.
manager, presumably, we'll spotlight them.
Yes.
Good idea.
That'd be a good plan.
That was
Very
my
good.
comment.
So I have a question. Alyssa, are you getting feedback about the engagement newsletters that you have put out in terms of what's really resonating with people, that they appreciate being in there, or if anyone has given you input on what more they would like to see in the newsletter?
So I haven't received any critical feedback. Certainly, open to hearing it, but I sincerely haven't heard any expressed to me or that have come through any other means. I have heard that the people enjoy the new format of it being a little bit more streamlined about where to find what they're looking for. When we have the space to do so, as we did in November, December, being able to put a little bit more educational, informational information. This past newsletter, we focused on medical equipment and all the resources out there to get that. So, yeah.
And do people seem okay with the newsletter not being mailed to their
Yes,
mailbox?
I think after 3 years, yes.
Okay, good.
I was excited to see them in Market Basket.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
they were in,
Yeah.
yeah, they were in the Market Basket. Because I had forgotten mine. I had one the day of the Halloween party. And I was in Market Basket. I'm like, oh, and I had left it here accidentally, and I was like, oh, they're right here in Market Basket.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Nisha had
That's a great
put
idea.
together a list of places. We have it in the office of where people can find it. Certainly, if you all have any additional ideas to add to the list, I'm more than happy to put them there. So yeah, she cultivated that list. Joe, the van driver, dropped them off, and yeah.
Excellent.
And then we have a few community members too that put them, at Whitestone Village, one at River Pines, and so forth.
Havel COA
Yep, and we go over there.
or West Newbury Sage Center?
We haven't gone over to the Sage Center, but we, I believe, have put in a couple of stores in West Newbury.
Okay.
When's the deadline for the next newsletter?
I haven't nailed it down yet. It will likely be early though, so I should, because it's quickly approaching.
Around the 15th.
Yeah, I will, yeah, so it normally is, but that won't work. So so I'll get back to you on that, yeah.
All right, thank you. Also, under new business, Alyssa has requested some time off in November and December. I won't mention the dates for privacy, obviously. 2 of those are personnel days, so she would fortunately be paid for those, and the other 2 would be without pay, as she is still within her 6-month probationary period. So she will be off a total of 4 days in November and December. Any thoughts or questions or concerns about that?
And the decision for the December Christmas week, you have-
Yeah, I put it in the
Yeah, it's
calendar.
kind of like-
So the office will be closed on the 26th. We will still be having, you know, I mean, one of the reasons, right, we're all here is because we do provide the critical services for our older adults, including the food pantry, including, you know, combating isolation. So, I didn't want to not have those opportunities for our most vulnerable. So we will be open. I may not be in the office for the full hours. So I did put in there limited office hours. I will certainly keep Barbara at the very least aware, and certainly messages on email and doors too. But by and large, for any programming that's happening, we will be here and making sure doors are open and all of that.
Maybe people can call if they, beforehand, before
Yeah.
coming, to make
Yeah.
sure that. No,
Absolutely.
That was my concern, because it's not like everyone has, oh, we're off on vacation.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
the lonely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
And the food pantry, I know you said Our Neighbor's Table is not providing food that week,
Yeah.
but will it be open?
So we'll
for
be
other-
open,
Presume
absolutely.
someone
Yeah,
will be
it
here,
will be
okay.
open for regular hours. We are doing the grocery van shopping over to River's Edge on Thursday, so, yeah.
And with all the extra food, the pantry could be filled for that week. Amazing amount that came in through
Yeah.
that drive.
All right.
But it goes out also now.
Yes,
So that's
Per-
that's good, no. that's the
Performance
idea.
evaluation plans, I believe that is with our personnel subcommittee right now. Larry or Irene, do you have
Yes.
anything to
Um,
report on that?
We're starting the process, and we'll be meeting after this meeting to make progress.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Future programs.
Yeah, I put a few, so outside of our additional, you know, regularly weekly programs, which I mentioned, I certainly mentioned in the newsletter, movies have returned to Mondays. This past Monday was a big success with Barbie, and certainly next Monday we do not have next Monday, yeah, we do have a movie, Jules, and the following one. So they are all on the calendar, but big events coming up that you do need to RSV for would be the Thanksgiving Centerpiece class. That's Monday the 20th at 2 o'clock. It is free, but you will go home with a lovely piece, I hope that you create. On Tuesday, the 21st, is the community coffee with Representative Ramos. I know a few constituents have come in and asked if she would be coming to the community. So Nisha had reached out to her and made that happen. So this is a community coffee hour. After this, she will do regular, I believe it's a regular monthly meeting for those that want to meet one-on-one with her as well. On the 28th of November, we have the Senior Medicare Patrol in regards to fraud and protecting yourself. And those are the big ones coming up.
I just have a question. Have we heard, are we going to do the tax preparation again? Have we heard from them?
So I know our person that did it last year had, is no long, actually, we're working on it.
Okay.
I want to,
But the plan is to try and do it again?
Yep, absolutely.
That was-
So and typically that would take place in February is my understanding.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
I just remember
February,
last year,
March.
we,
It was a huge
we
success.
started publicizing it, I think, for the January, February
Yeah.
newsletter.
Yep.
And I know, having done all the phone calls, the idea was to give priority to Groveland residents.
Yeah.
But how do you say no to someone who calls? They give you their phone number, which is a Groveland number, but it's also Haverhill number. We had very few Groveland participants.
Yeah.
By the
no-
time they called, there were no more.
Do you have access to the data, to my senior center?
No.
Okay, so I think that might be
wasn't
the,
allowed
might
to.
be the difference, yeah. is
Well,
that-
it went out in the newsletter, and then people were to call me at home,
Oh, okay.
and I made all the appointments.
Right, because we had no director.
We had no director.
But maybe
Yeah.
what we could do is put and say, you know,
Time
call by
frame.
such, we're holding appointments for Groveland residents.
Right.
So call before such and such a date.
Yep.
After that date, we'll open it up. And
opened
maybe people on the honor system will.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
That's an
and
idea.
we do have access to everybody's address in the database. And we did a similar thing for the Boston Post because we are here to serve Groveland. We certainly welcome others, but we do want to make Groveland residents priority, and so we made that happen.
And I think last year was the first year that Haverhill did not offer it.
Right.
So people were,
Oh, I'm
well, where
sure.
do I go?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so I think we, Rowley, Georgetown, and Groveland were the only three towns to,
Okay.
maybe not even Rowley, I forget what the other one was. But anyway,
No, thank you for sharing that.
thank you for reminding.
So each month, we have a monthly meeting focus that we talk about on the board that has been established in advance. And this month, it is a financial overview, understanding the entire financial picture. The Finance Subcommittee did meet last week, and I sent out an email to all the board members, just updating those who were not participants of what we had discussed at that meeting. And then Alyssa has prepared a document about a better understanding of the Council on Aging's financial framework. And in there are things like grants overview, the current grants that we receive, how much they are, what they're used for. And those include Mass Cultural Council, Mass Department of Transportation, the formula grant, of course, which is our biggest grant and renewed every year. So grants were discussed, and then as well, revolving funds. What are revolving funds? Where do they come from? What are they used for? What type of expenditure categories, for example? And then a better understanding of the town operating budget. The line item breakdown as far as salary, director salary, assistant director, outreach van driver, and then operational expenses such as our phone bill, software, job postings, and van maintenance, annual inspection, gasoline, maintenance, et cetera. And that we do have the option closer to the end of the fiscal year, that if there is money left over in a particular account, as there will be this year in the outreach line, that we can do line item transfers between accounts. And then anything else left over becomes part of the town's, I forget the term for it, but they're leftover. Overflow? Leftover monies is a financial term for it, which is escaping me right now. No, well, any, free cash, I think it is that it goes into.
Free cash,
Yeah.
that's it.
And then also discussed was the approval process for spending. How do bills get paid? The director submits them into the town payment system directly now, and allocates expenses to whatever category it's coming out of, revolving fund, town expense, grants, et cetera. The Council on Aging Board Treasurer, who is Marie, receives a copy of the bills, and along with the expenses, she reviews and signs off the finance record that is then submitted to the town accountant. Record keeping, bills are scanned and stored in the Council on Aging files for record-keeping purposes and future reference. And payment authorization, the director provides the originals of the bills and the sign approval to the town accountant for an actual payment to be initiated. That, in a nutshell, is the financial overview focus. If there are any other points of interest?
Well, I just want to make sure, because my whole vision of this monthly topic thing was that we would have a chance to make sure everyone understood it, and if necessary, discuss it. And, you know, this is excellent, but I'd just like to make sure that, does everybody understand everything that Barbara just read?
So we can go through the budget as well, if it's helpful to sort of see the
I mean,
numbers.
I
And
don't
that
want
was-
to beat a dead horse if everybody understands it.
Well, that
But
was
if there's-
also why I sent out the email to everyone,
Right.
so that we had,
Sorry.
take time to read it and prepare any questions that you might have for this meeting.
Yeah, so,
So I didn't receive any questions, just from Deb, which I appreciate. But
I also didn't receive any feedback from my email,
Yeah.
so.
so is there anyone that has anything that they want to look at? Is everybody comfortable with it?
So the revolving funds,
Yeah.
the source of funds, I understand it's donations and also program fees.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of the program fees, so if we have the luncheon per se,
Yep.
let's say, Friends of the COA put in so much, because I mean, obviously, the $5 cost is not going to pay for that, or if, you know, the performer, if we have to pay a performer, whatever. But whatever's left over doesn't go back to the Friends, it comes into the COA.
The Friends of is their mission of fundraising. They give
Fundraising.
a donation to the COA. Anybody can give a donation to the COA. It is tax deductible, just under a different IRS section. So it's a donation for the specific purposes.
Thank you. Just wanted to make that clear to anyone out there listening.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. So the programs don't happen without a number of people and funding sources. It
And-
takes a little bit of everything to make it happen.
Making the magic. And van fees go into the revolving account as well,
That
correct?
is correct, yeah. And that will be another topic
Right.
of further discussion.
So,
Right, because we can pay, if we run out of the town money for the van expense, van maintenance, we can take money out of that revolving fund to help.
Yes, but
if
even
we
more
need-
specifically, we should, our first priority will be to take it out of the Mass DOT program.
Or the Mass
For
DOT, right,
FY.
now that we have that
When it
grant.
comes in January 2024, because that will be used specifically for expenses. The town budget, while certainly appreciated, you know, it is small, and every, as we said, every dollar counts. We will definitely go through it, and hence why Barbara and Nisha applied for the Mass DOT grant.
So how much record keeping or documentation is involved once you get grant money?
Really depends on the grant itself. The ones that the COA currently has, it's pretty minimal. It's everything that we have anyway. So for the Mass Cultural Council, it's a reimbursement grant. So that would be invoices. We do give a program narrative of what happened, just to share a success story. You know, who attended, what we did, so that we can continue, hopefully, to receive funds, because again, it wouldn't happen otherwise. For the Mass DOT grant, again, it's a lot of invoices. If any grants are paying for any part of a salary, you know, they would see payroll records, that sort of thing.
Are any grants at this point paying for salary? Is the DOT?
We're finishing up this
Okay.
calendar year. Yep.
Does the van driver's salary at
No.
all come from? Okay, thank you. So, once this calendar year is over, there will be no more money from grants paying for
That
salaries?
is our goal.
Yes?
But we still need to make that happen.
Would that happen by the end of the fiscal year?
Fiscal year, well, no, I mean, because we're currently in this fiscal year,
Right,
which
right.
part of it's being paid for a grant.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully by FY '25,
Yes.
we're hoping everything will be
Okay,
be
great.
cleared up.
All right, that's,
But I mean,
There's a
again,
glimmer.
there's,
Yes.
that is the goal, and we still need to make it work.
excellent, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments on the focus area of finance this month? And can we just refresh my memory, what is the January focus? I
Oh,
got that
oh,
in-
December, you mean?
I'm sorry.
A
Jump
budget,
right over that.
right? December's budget prep,
Is what?
budget preparation,
Budget prep.
I think,
That's-
for
that's
December,
timely.
because it'll be time to submit the budget before we know it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the other, I think you all probably know, but just worth naming is the funds in the revolving account can be rolled over to the next fiscal year. The grants really vary on the grant guidelines themselves. And each of those are different for
So,
what
yeah,
they are.
Formula grant did roll over, but I think that was, does that always happen, or is that because
So
of
that is
COVID?
something new, but it is, they haven't said that it won't continue. It's something that happened, I know, definitely last year, it's happening this year. There's no talk that I've heard of that would discontinue.
I think in the past it was use it or
Yeah.
lose it,
That is
and then
correct.
COVID made it so that
Yeah.
they would let it roll over.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I do hope, my intention, unless we have a specific initiative that we want to hold back funds. I mean, the funds are here to spend and to
right.
use on our community, so I anticipate doing so.
especially where, they've increased it by $2 per senior or older
Yeah,
adult.
the number went down, and I'm not quite sure why, but in regards to number of adults.
Oh, the number, oh, wow.
Yeah, that surprised
Yeah.
me, considering we have Nichols and Whitestone.
Were they based on a different census?
So I didn't see where the numbers for 2024 were based from. I know from the fiscal year, or the calendar year of '23, it did say it was based on the 2020 census.
It's every 10 years, it's,
Yeah, so
so it
it's,
shouldn't be, so I wonder, but they did have, I do believe that they've had revisions to censuses. I didn't know it affected a town like Groveland, you wouldn't think it would,
I can look into that more.
but
yeah.
that would be interesting, because that's a big drop, that's,
That
10%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that surprised
I didn't
me
even
too.
notice that. Jeez.
So, yeah, because if they were both on the 2020 census, that would be a huge change for a town as small as Groveland.
I mean, that's how many people
Yes.
That's-
died or moved.
But it shouldn't even be died or moved, because the 2020 census is, you get it for 10 years until the
That's
2030
right.
census.
That's right, so it wouldn't matter.
So it would only be if there was a correction to the 2020 census, would be the only reason that would
That is a
happen.
big drop.
So I really don't understand that, unless
Unless
the
COVID had something to
2023
do
was
with it.
still based on the 2010 census.
The document said
And
20.
I think
20,
it did
right?
say 2020,
Right.
because that's why we got a big jump.
Right, that's what I thought.
We used to only get 15,000.
Right, that's what I thought, yeah.
18,000, I think, 18,000, I'm sorry.
So that's
It was a big jump when we went on to
Yeah.
2020.
That's kind of a, I would,
Census.
because I just, when it says based on 2020 census, I assumed that was carved in stone, and that for the next 10 years,
Yeah.
That's what we were told. that
Right.
You could
So both of
anticipate
these
at
would
least
Right.
be
what
based on
you
the 2020.
received.
So why would numbers
So the check,
change?
it's a check hasn't come in yet, but so I will definitely inquire. Then that number comes from, I think I sent you all the link of of what they say
Let's say
all the towns
anticipated.
are going to get. But I'll double check where those numbers are coming.
Yeah, because you can't, when you look at the census itself, it shows people over 65. 60, you have the details. Within the town has the
Yeah.
details for that, but I think the published census that anyone that can go online looks for, it shows over 65, I believe.
Maybe that's what the change, maybe FY '24 they did do.
We'll have to let
65.
Alyssa dig into it and find out.
That could be,
Because I can't understand
difference.
an error in that would be a
that's right.
dramatically statistical error in a census. So,
Yep.
So I wonder if the town clerk has that kind of data.
she should, yeah,
She should.
yeah. Alyssa, I'm sure, can dig into it and get us an answer.
So Alyssa, my question is there anything financially that you find connected with the COA that keeps you up at night?
Everything. No. I think you named it earlier, is just really making sure, number one, that we're paying people as best as we can, and I know that's really, we don't have too much control over that, but we can certainly advocate for it, and making sure that the town is fully responsible for it, and that we're not
Using grants.
reliant on grants. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other new business? If not, it appears that our next scheduled meeting will be Wednesday, December 20th, just before Christmas, here at 9:30. If there's nothing else, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:25?
Motion. I motioned.
Deb and Linda.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good one. Thank you. Excellent reports.
Yeah.